On this week's episode of Lincoln to Local, we'll be visiting with Oklahoma Farm Bureau's Gage Milliman as we round out the first full month of the 2025 Oklahoma legislative session and talk about where Oklahoma Farm Bureau's priority bills are in the process, along with some other issues that Farm Bureau is watching. Gage, thanks for joining us again for Lincoln to Local, and it's hard to believe, but we're almost done with the first full month of the 2025 Oklahoma legislative session, and I know Oklahoma Farm Bureau, our priority bills, have made some progress. They're working through committee structures and getting ready to move beyond that. Can you give us an update on those priority bills, kind of where they're at, and what are the topics they touch on?
Yeah, we actually have 5 priority bills, 3 bills in the House, and 2 of those 3 bills have companion bills in the Senate. So those 5 bills all have to do with renewable energy, and they all kind of work together, but they're dealing with eminent domain, making sure that it's clear that private entities putting in transmission lines cannot use that eminent domain without going through the proper channels to get permission, and we're bringing some of that federal jurisdiction back to the state. So the Oklahoma Corporation Commission has some say in that. It also has to deal with eminent domain on those private projects with the actual wind farms, solar farms, battery storage facilities, those type of things, just reassuring to residents of Oklahoma and our members that those companies cannot take your land by eminent domain for those projects. If you want to sign a lease with them, that's still an option, but we just want to make sure we protect those private property rights to where our members can do with their land what they see fit to be done with their land. We also have one other bill is our annexation bill, House Bill 1166. It is one that has not made it through all the channels yet. We're hoping it soon makes it through an oversight committee so it can continue in the process, just making sure that we clean up some language in that state statute that the cities can't take annex land without having the permission from the landowners that are involved in that. We have had that happen in the state, and we're just clearing up that language to make sure that our rural members still have a say in whether or not they get annexed by a city or not.
Now, we talked last week, there's kind of the dual committee structure almost in the House. And so for those House bills, kind of where have they made it in that new process for 2025? And is there a chance that they might hit the floor anytime soon?
Yeah, there is. So those 3 House bills I mentioned dealing with renewable energy were all heard in the same committee this week, and they all passed. So that gets them through both committees in the House that they're required to get through. And the companion Senate bills have both made it through committees in the Senate. So all 5 of those bills will be eligible to be heard in their respective chamber at any time.
That's great. I know we've got the priority bills. Members probably have heard a little bit about each of those, but I know another issue that's popped up is the one of lab-grown or lab-cultured meat or protein. Can you tell kind of what bills we've seen and kind of where Farm Bureau's at in the process on those?
Yeah, we've seen 3 different bills, 2 House bills and a Senate bill that have dealt with lab-grown meat or the cell-cultured meat. And some of those bills started out as a complete ban on those, but all of them have changed to a labeling bill. The House bill made it through an oversight committee on Wednesday as well, so it would be eligible for being heard on the floor. And then the Senate bill was one of those that started as an all-out ban that got changed to a labeling bill and passed without much debate and opposition to get that moved on to be heard on the Senate floor as well.
And as we consider lab-cultured proteins, what does Oklahoma Farm Bureau's policy say? Because I know we've had a lot of discussions in ag and in the food sector for several years now, but what does our policy say as a state? So
that's one great thing about our resolutions process is our members get together with all their ideas and they put together that policy that we can use. And our current Farm Bureau policy wants a label on those products so the consumer knows what they are consuming, what they're purchasing. We also have policy that states that they would like for it not to be called meat. So if it's going to be meat, it's going to be from an animal. And if it's going to be a lab cultured protein, our members would just like for that to be labeled as such. Great. I know one other issue that our members have been really interested in for a long time, and I know last session it was a big deal, and this session, again, it's popped up, and that's water. If you can tell kind of what we've seen for water legislation, and also I know we've got that Farm Bureau member-based working group to focus on water as well. Of course. Water is always a big issue. The first few weeks of this session, it wasn't talked about much in actual committees, they were still working on things to get some bills together. The few bills have gone through. That was one thing that we really did coming out of last year's session is needing some more information to go work on these bills. And our working water group has done an outstanding job being able to sit in on some of those meetings and listen to what our members have to say and their ideas. A very intelligent group of members that have put that together. But just this week, there was a bill heard in the Senate committee, and it had a lot of discussion and debate went on for over an hour. So it's obviously a big hot topic. And in the end, it was decided to lay that over a week so there could be some more work done on it, more discussions being had. I think everybody knows the importance of those water bills and what they mean for the state and especially our irrigators in western Oklahoma. And we're excited to continue working with all those involved on those water bills.
Now, it's hard to believe that we have almost, 4 weeks of legislative session already under our belts for 2025. Where are we at in the legislative process as far as where the bills are, the committee timing, upcoming deadlines, kind of where are we at in that overall, 4 or 5 month scope of session?
So it's really been moving quickly, and we're approaching our first deadline for everything to be out of committees is March 6th. It'd be Thursday, March 6th. And once they get past that point, then they can be heard on the floor. But in this process, both the House and the Senate have started hearing bills on the floor this last week. Just a few they'll start picking up as they go, and especially when we get past that March 6th deadline, they'll really pick up floor work after that.
Well, thanks for the update, Gage, and I'm sure we'll be talking again soon for the latest updates on what we've got going on at the Capitol.
Thank you.